too. I'm fast.
So you went to Verizon, I'll say when Verizon's here 7:30 here.
I know you do. Close it up. I got about 20 seconds left.
Four, three, two.
All right, it's 7:30. We'll call the meeting to order. If everyone would please rise. We'll have an invocation by Mr. Henry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our most precious Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this privilege of coming to for this city, Lord, and doing business and directed for us to take you out. And we ask you, Lord, to guide us in the right directions. And Heavenly Father, we thank you for the leadership that we have in our city. And we ask you to be with them daily as they minister the moves and the ways and gives our city a good name. Thank you for the success stories that we've heard this past month. People coming to our town. The results of the election, our school levies and other things that we need to help and have good community. Heavenly Father, we ask you to be especially Lord with our servicemen and women as they protect us, as they administer their duties, protecting and bringing back to their families. Even our safety forces in the city, around the state, Lord, as they protect us, minister to us. Just keep them safe. Be with our other community women that work with water and streets, and other departments, Lord, that makes our place a good place to live. Thank you for all that we have. Let's go to these things now.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call.
Kelly.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Cole. Here. Grable.
Here.
Heffley.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Johnson.
Motion to excuse Mr. Johnson.
Motion and second to excuse Mr. Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Mr. Johnson is excused. Now need approval of the minutes of November 4th, 2013.
President,
Mr. Morrow.
make a motion to approve the minutes of,
November 4th. A motion, I have a second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Minutes have been approved. Election appointments, none. Special orders committees, none. Unfinished business, none. Petition of the communications, none. Brings us to visitor section. Any visitor like to speak? Approach the podium, state your name and address, and tell us your concerns.
Jamie Nita, 1825 Berkshire Drive. I was co-chair of the Heath Pride Committee, which was a big group that worked with Heath City Schools to help pass this recent levy that was on the ballot in November 5. We won, but and really, I'm just here to thank you for listening to us. We came to a meeting a few weeks ago and just tried to inform you of what the levy was and why we needed what we were doing in the community. So one is a thank you, two is to share just a reoccurring statement that we heard while out in the community from our community members, and I repeat that part, from our community members, because this was about a lot more than students and parents. Oftentimes in school levy campaigns you hear strong schools build strong communities. Likewise, strong communities build strong schools. And without community support, schools suffer. So we're very blessed that to have the support that we did. Back to the recurring statement, we heard a lot of, it's Heath in the past, or it's mine, it's Heath. and short of me personally, but I did take them by the shoulders and shake them to exercise their right to vote and to vote yes. This is my train of thought. We wanted folks to, I encourage them to show our students and staff, the teachers and other community members a large margin of victory, because I think that's a positive feeling for everybody involved. And we did just that. I wasn't aware really of the statistics, but I'm told that 15% margin on a school levy, especially when it's on the ballot for the first time, that's a landslide status. So we're really happy. There are a lot of people who work very, very hard. That said, I would just share that, in my opinion, we have incredible leadership in our schools right now, which some of them would be here tonight, but they're in executive session, so. But again, thank you for your time, for listening to us back then, and we hope to keep those ties. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other visitors? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports, finance and budget. Mr. Crable.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee met this evening. We had no legislative requests to discuss. There are other items. Auditor Alexander reported on the 11/9/13, November 9th, 13th, we brought in from the city impound lot auction, $20,220. He also shared with us Standard & Poor's has recently re-rated the city as part of their routine. Bond rating is went from B+ to a AA-, which is actually an improvement, which represents Heath's tenure. We've never had an increase. It's always essentially stayed the same, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. And that's about all we have to discuss. Anything else, Keith?
Nothing to add.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public Services, Mr. Morrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next meeting of the Public Service Committee will be next Monday, November 15th at, next Monday, 25th, at 5:30 here at City Hall. This time, expressing sympathies to John Gallagher. Thank you, Mr. President.
Public Safety, Mr. Heifer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Safety met November 12th at 5:30. Chief Shepard gave his report. October statistics at call for service was 1,325. Offense reports 132, arrests 51, accidents of 23, and citations 72. October overtime usage $11,401. Year to date, $104,716. These were compared to $12,424 in 2012, $116,277, so it was down. With nothing else to report, the police report was ended at 5:33 p.m. 5:34, Chief Huggins gave his report. Fire runs, there were 42, year to date 362, compared to 38 and 384 in 2012. EMS runs 138, year to date 1,635, compared to 145 and 1,551 in 2012. Transports, there were 69, year to date 883, compared to 93 and 134 in 2012. Mutual aids given 38, mutual aid received 15. There were no legislative requests. Monthly expense, October wages was $63,402.16. October overtime was $29,350.35. Wages and overtime to date, $212,694.09. Under equipment, Medic 9, we're ordering new tires for that. Second, the Polaris 6x6 is being serviced. And number 3, 2 new MSA air monitors were put into service. Under personnel, the Ford is injured again. injured his shoulder, and if at all possible, we're going to have him work on a 40-hour work week. We'll have him help on searching for a new software for the EMS reporting. The one we have now is just not acceptable. We have to continue to pay for their service until April. Hopefully we can find one to replace this system. Old business, the server's down again, the temporary fix and back up. There seems to be a spike in the system. It was suggested maybe to check with AEP about the problem, and maybe they can help us out. Second, the chief's vehicle engine needs repaired, and it cost us about $1,800 to fix. The EMS software update was already covered. Under new business, there were two minor vehicle accidents. The ladder truck hit a Newark Township truck, and the chief hit a door while moving the squad. One other thing, Bob Evans, Thanksgiving meals, the chief is working with them to help give out meals to some of the needy families in Heath at Thanksgiving and Christmas. The meals will feed 6 to 8 people. With nothing else to report, we adjourn at 5:59 p.m. Chief Shepherd, you have anything else?
No, sir.
Chief Huggins?
Not right now, thanks.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Streets and drainage, Mr. Hefner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Streets and drainage, called to order tonight. Bob Geller, the street superintendent, gave his report. Number one, the leaf pickup was held today and will continue tomorrow. It was light today, maybe that'll pick up tomorrow. Second, the new dump truck is painted. It came in with a flat black bed and it was painted orange. It looks great. But we still need a new truck next year. Looking into that. Third, the street employee retiring, Leonard Schaefer, better known as Hook, his last day is January 31st, and we will have a test hopefully ready in December to fill that position. Fourth on the agenda, the light pole on 79, Joe Henderson is still looking at this. The pole is there by Chipotle, it keeps getting hit. We might have to move or replace this pole, but we'll have to see what Joe has to say on that. The fifth, the traffic light on 30th to 79. This has not been changed. We are waiting on these lights to be fixed. Dave Pennington is talking to the guy from the company contracted by the state to get this light changed. Keith Alexander made the statement that it is really important that we have our traffic moving well. Whatever we can do to help with this problem, we should make it happen. Bob said that the Willow Ridge retention pond that John Groff, Bob, and AEP have met, and that they will be hopefully having this rebuilt in the next 2 weeks. They have to make a road into the pond through the McDonald property, and we'll put that back in place. With nothing else to report, we adjourned at 5:59 p.m. Bob, anything else I missed?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Community Development and Zoning, Mr. Henry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Community Development and Zoning will meet on December 2nd, 5:30 p.m. Mr. Buck, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Parks, Recreation, and David Shea, Mrs. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks, Recreation, and David Shea met this evening at 6 p.m. The first item on our agenda was trimming trees at Geller Park. Some trimming was started last week. They had some damage to some fencing due to trees falling from the storms. And they've been working with AEP to trim and take care of the problem. They also worked to trim some of the pine trees. Second item is working on pool rates. Director Geller reports they continue to work he and the mayor to establish some rates for 2014, still considering some specials to enhance attendance. Third item is the Irvingwood East Bridge railing damaged. The day of the snow that we had recently, someone lost control and hit the railing. We have a police report, and we'll be getting estimates to see if the insurance of the individual who hit the railing will pay. Fourth item, they have the auction at the impound lot on November 9th for cars and bikes, and they've all been picked up except one car. Fifth item, Victorian Christmas Open House at the Davis Shea House will be Saturday, December 14th at 4 p.m. The mayor reported that at the groundbreaking for Experion, a group went to the Davis Shea House for lunch afterwards, and that they did a great job with that. Director Geller also reported that Steve Carson is resigning from the Parks Board due to moving to the city of Heath. This also would have been the end of his term at the end of the year anyway, so we're only looking for one replacement. He asked council if they had recommendation. He will bring back recommendations at a later meeting also. Checking that off.
Yeah, just one correction, the Little Lake did the drainage project, that was at Hoback Park, not
Go
Gillette.
back part.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, thank you.
Thank you. We adjourned at 6:23.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Mr. Crable.
Thank you, Mr. President. Given that our normal meeting date will be Thanksgiving, we move our meeting up a week to this Thursday, 21st of November. Mr. Groff, anything to add?
Well, the mayor and I discussed it because we haven't had time to get this information. A lack of agenda items possibly be looking at.
We don't have anything on the agenda other than to talk about, the digital sign and I don't believe, has council formally requested the planning commission to review that, John?
No, that needs to be forwarded yet to the planning commission.
So we don't have an agenda, so.
Mr. President, please announce we have no meeting for November. Thank you.
All right. That's all the committee reports. Brings us to introduction of ordinances. Ordinance 93, 2013.
Ordinance 93, 2013, an ordinance authorizing appropriation of $3,000 within the general fund of street capital outlay to purchase materials to rebuild the Willow Ridge subdivision detention pond.
Mr. President,
Mr. Heflin.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive the second reading of ordinance 93, 2013.
second.
I have a motion and a second to waive. Roll call.
Kelly.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Crable.
Yes.
Heffley.
Yes.
Henry.
Motion to waive's been approved.
Mr. President,
Mr. Heflin.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 93, 2013.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt ordinance 93, 2013. Any comments or discussion?
Mr. President,
Very good.
just a point of information, we need to get the detention pond compressed as quickly as possible to help mitigate the runoff coming off the hill there in Kimberly Court. So appreciate council waiving the second reading on this and request its passage.
Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Kelly.
Yes.
Morrow.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Crable.
Yes.
Heffley.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Ordinance 93, 2013 has been adopted. Ordinance 94, 2013.
Ordinance 94, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Licking County Board of Commissioners for reimbursement of legal counsel for indigent defendants for the city of Heath, Licking County, Ohio.
Ordinance 94, 2013 be held to a second reading. Brings us to ordinances on the second reading. Ordinance 74, 2013.
Ordinance 74, 2013, an ordinance to rezone 675 Heath Road, Heath, Ohio, from M2, General Manufacturing District, to R2, General Residence District, to allow construction of a convalescent rehabilitation center.
Mr. President,
Mr. Henry.
I make a motion to amendment to ordinance 1713.
Second.
You want to go ahead and state the,
Okay, the ordinance, the amendment would add to, this will be section 4, then the current section 4 will be section 5. And what? It says patients seeking treatment primarily for substance abuse are not allowed. This facility must be operated in accordance with the Ohio Nursing Home Licensure and federal certification requirements. And Mr. Croft, can you explain that for us?
Yes, at the public hearing a few weeks ago, there were a group of citizens who made an extremely good point. They were afraid that this facility might in the future be used for drug abuse or rehabilitation. They didn't want anything like that in their neighborhood. And the nursing, the Sandex, the company that owns the rehabilitation facility, was in agreement with them discussed wording that could be put into the ordinance as a conditional, condition. And that's what our Cletus just read. And that would, prevent, if in the future, could be used, being used as appropriate quotations.
I have a motion and a second for the amendment. Any other comments or discussion on that amendment? Yeah, then Deb second. Okay. Roll call?
Kelly,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Rabel,
Yes.
Heffley,
Yes.
Henry.
Okay, the amendment has been adopted, Mr. Henry.
Okay, Mr. President, I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 74, 2013 as amended.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt ordinance 74, 2013 as amended. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Kelly,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Rabel,
Yes.
Heffley,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Ordinance 74, 2013 has been adopted as amended. Okay. Next ordinance, ordinance 89, 2013.
Ordinance 89, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the unappropriation of $148,024.38 within the pool fund, $6,100 for personnel services, $8,500 for materials and supplies, $127,184.38 from debt service, $440 from other disbursements, $5,800 from capital outlay.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Cole.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 89, 2013.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Kelly,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Rabel,
Yes.
Heffley,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Ordinance 89, 2013 has been adopted. Ordinance 90, 2013.
Ordinance 90, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $127,184.38 within the debt service fund to pay the annual debt service for the pool.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Cole.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 90, 2013.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Kelly,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Rabel, Heffley,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Ordinance 90, 2013 has been adopted. Ordinance 91, 2013.
Ordinance 91, 2013, an ordinance authorizing the appropriation transfer of $11,000 from pool materials and supplies to pool services, appropriation and transfer of $12,000 from general fund to pool fund.
Mr. President,
Mrs. Cole.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 91, 2013.
A motion and a second. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Kelly,
Yes.
Morrow,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Rabel,
Yes.
Heffley,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes.
Ordinance 91, 2013 has been adopted. That's all the ordinances on the second reading. Brings us to resolutions on the first reading, which are none. There are no resolutions on the second reading. Brings us to reports of city officials. Mayor Johns.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to everyone here in attendance this evening. Appreciate you coming out. Have a number of things to cover here, so I'll try to be brief. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to all of you this coming Thursday. Wanted to make sure you were aware I was not at our safety committee meeting last week because I chose to attend Newark City Council's Ways and Means Committee where their city treasurer, Barb Jobs, was giving a report to their committee on the House Bill 5 legislation, which was at the time before the House of Representatives. As I'm sure you know, we've talked about it many times, we believe House Bill 5 would have very detrimental financial impacts to the city of Heath. If it were passed as drafted, it passed through the Ohio House on Wednesday. I frankly am getting sick and tired of getting kicked in the teeth by our state government, and we'll continue to try to work with, this time on the Senate side, Senator Tim Schaefer. Try to make sure he understands how awful many components of that bill are. Another entity that's kind of used to getting kicked in the teeth by our state government is our schools, but they were able to help address their problem with passing the school levy. Trevor Thomas, school superintendent, I saw just came in, and Jamie Hayden, who helped to head up the Heath Pride Committee. Excellent job. Excellent job. It's hard to overstate the positive impacts that the strong school system has on the community as a whole, and it's hard to overstate the detrimental impacts that a weak school system has as well. So thank you for all the hard work that you folks put in. Jamie, I know for you it became like a full-time job, and really appreciate what you did, not just for the schools, not just for my kids, but for the community as a whole. Thank you very much. I know Thursday, some of you were able to attend, some of you weren't able to attend. We had a red letter day in the city of Heath on Thursday with the groundbreaking of the Experian facility out at the end of Kaiser Drive and James Parkway. This is a German company that will manufacture tanks for compressed natural gas use. Primarily, I believe their focus is going to be on the automobile market. They believe, and I frankly concur, when you look at the cost of running a vehicle on compressed natural gas as opposed to gasoline, and in particular diesel, certainly fleets are moving to compressed natural gas. And if we can find some way to make it easier to find locations to fill vehicles with compressed natural gas, I think the consumer market is ready to take off and utilize a cleaner burning fuel that's less costly to operate vehicles. So I think they're in a growth market. Really excited to have them here, and they were impressed from start to this point with Licking County and the city of Heath, all the cooperation and help that they've received from various entities. Not just the city of Heath, but at the county level, the state level. It was teamwork on display. And that's exactly the kind of thing that puts the city of Heath, in my opinion, above other parts of central Ohio, and I'll put us up against anybody in the country. It's a great day, great event, and I can assure you I'm working hard to try to have a few more red letter days like that for the city of Heath. Later this week, we'll mark the 50th anniversary of President Kennedy's assassination. Just think it should be noted, although I was not alive at the time, I know that there are events in our lives that happen where you remember where you were when it happened. For me, that was the shuttle, the Challenger blowing up with the teacher that was on board. For those who were alive at the time, it was probably President Kennedy's assassination. So this week, we mark the 50th anniversary of his unfortunate death. And finally, I just want to mention another unfortunate death. Kim Geller and Craig White lost their mom yesterday morning. It was a relatively short illness for her. I did not know her very well personally. However, I do know this: you don't raise two people who are outstanding people like Kim and Craig without being an outstanding person yourself. And so I would encourage you to keep Kim and Craig's families in your prayers. That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Auditor Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no comments this evening.
Auditor Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's all.
Okay. Starting out the end, Mr. Crable.
Welcome everyone here tonight, and happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. Henry.
I too like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and also I received my mail this week. I wasn't at the safety meeting, but Chief said about Officer Fisher and Patterson. That is outstanding, and I wish Chief give our compliments to them. And I'd say that I was very impressed at that meeting the Mayor was talking about. He emceed it, and I don't think anybody could have beat him. That was outstanding. His procedures, everything went clockwork. So it would make you proud to be a heathen at that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mrs. Cole?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to welcome everyone as well and send my condolences out to Frank White and the others. Mr. President.
Mr. Morrow. Thank you, Mr. President. I too, very proud to be in the city with Heath. School letting, very proud that, you know, the citizens of Heath do support and care about the city. Experience, yes, that was quite impressive. Rest of the old buttons off the shirt being so proud, so look for more of those. I mentioned before, Kenny Craig was awesome. Very cool with that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Heflin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Also to continue to, just my heart and prayers go out to welcome everyone here this evening and wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and also at the Experion groundbreaking. I just can't get over the great job that the mayor did, and I think the people of the city of Heath should be very proud of this gentleman, because he carries himself well and does well for the city of Heath. With that,
Lane, you have anything to know? Bob Geller?
Nothing, thanks.
John Groff?
nothing, thank you.
Chief Shepherd?
No, sir.
Chief Huggins?
Nothing, thanks.
I don't really have anything either other than to echo what everyone else has already said. But since Mr. Thomas did come in here, I'm gonna allocate a little bit of my time. If you'd like to approach the podium to speak about anything, I'll give you a few minutes. That's just about enough now.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. I appreciate that. I wanted to come also to show our gratitude from the school system. We just adjourned our Board of Education meeting tonight. We had it on a special night, so we unfortunately had to have it at the same time. However, we were talking about how fortunate we are in that meeting, and I kind of shared a little personal amount of information. I'm from Shelby, Ohio, and I attended 13 years of education there. I was born there, and then I also returned there to teach for 4 years and coach. And I can share with you, my personal experience has not been to live in a community that unconditionally supports its school system. And I guess maybe unconditionally is the wrong word, but I mean, the strong support that we have here is special. And one of the things that attracted us to be here was that type of value that the citizens put on their city and on their school system. It's refreshing, and we certainly do not take it for granted in my family, and I do believe that in our district as well, our personnel and people there don't take it for granted. So certainly appreciate the time that you all afforded us at the last meeting. I absolutely, it was easy to work on a committee with two parents like Mrs. Mathis and Mrs. Hayden, who care so much about the school system, supported us as school officials to be able to echo and really back us up at times where people had good questions and real concerns. So appreciate everybody. I think I took all my time there, but thank you for that. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, brings us to new business, which there's none. Reading the bids.
Thank you, Mr. President. The impound lot auction, November 9th of this year, brought in $20,200. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Under miscellaneous, I'll call on Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. As most of you know, I'm a bit of a history buff, and tomorrow is the 150th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln delivering the Gettysburg Address. And certainly in the history of this country, It is one of the cornerstone documents that our government and our way of life, frankly, is built upon. And I thought it would be wholly appropriate if this body, in recognition of that momentous day, were to go through the process of reading parts of the Gettysburg Address. So I've taken the liberty to pass out certain parts to everyone. We'll start with Doug and go around to Jeff, then Keith, and then myself, and thought it would be an appropriate way to commemorate the event. So, Mr. Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war.
We've come here to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this.
But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract.
The world will little note or long remember what we say here, but we can never forget what they did here.
It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they fought here have thus far so nobly advanced.
It's rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion.
That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Motion for adjournment.
A motion, a second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.